Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome everybody, guys. Let's take a look again on euro currency. So here's a very interesting situation. It usually happens when the market turns to some narrowing consolidation. So as a rule, it either pennant or triangle that we have, and as usual, this pattern keeps the chances for both direction. And our task here is to estimate what direction is more probable in the current circumstances. So we have some additional tools for analysis with the indirect signs on other currencies that could clarify the situation here as well. But also we have some things and thoughts on euro currency directly. So first of all, on a daily chart, so you can see as market was not able to proceed high and break the 30% level, turning to some downward action. It makes possible appearing of the butterfly with a further drop to the 1130 at least. So this will be the first extension of the butterfly. 1618 will be 110.65. So what is the probability that this pattern will appear? Because additionally, so here's trend in general stands bullish, market stands in a tight consolidation. Based on the performance of the daily chart, we could say that this consolidation looks more like the continuation pattern. It's because we have the drop, downside action. Yes, we remember that here we have the strong support. This is important target on the weekly chart. If you remember, this is bounced from the 618 support. But at the same time, the monthly chart and the weekly chart are rather extended. And here maybe reaction could start later. So for example, market could form the hand and shoulders, which has become the part of the butterfly. So, other words speaking, another drop to the 1130s will not be something decisive for a weekly time frame, and it really could happen. So when you can see triangle after the significant sell-off, usually it works like the continuation pattern. So here, well, it's difficult to say what's the degree of bearishness of this pattern, or what's chances that it will be formed. So today also I would like to remember you that we will get the CPI numbers. Personally, guys, I think that even we will get some relief in the inflationary pressure today, hardly it will make an impact on the markets. It's just because the Fed already said that it's not the transitionary inflation, and that's enough to change the view of the market society to the inflation. If even today's inflation will be slightly lower, for example, than expected numbers. But I suppose that hardly it will happen, just because November is the time of the big sales in the United States, where you see the demand, then you also will see the rising of the prices. So I think that hardly we will get really significantly lower inflation this time. Anyway, this is the pattern that potentially might be formed. But at the same time, we could argue that the same consolidation keeps the door open for opposite pattern. So if we take a look at the fall time frame chart, that easily might be the upward butterfly as well, because we have the ABCD, this reaction on the COP, and the OP stands right here, 1425 approximately. Take a look at it, perfectly agrees with the 127 extension of this leg, which is the butterfly target. Why we think that this pattern has less chance to happen? Mostly because of the recent performance that we discussed yesterday, and we will talk about this again a bit later when we will take a look at the hourly chart. Here, the thing that stands not in favor of this scenario is the way how market deal with the potential shape of the head and shoulders, as we said yesterday. So take a look, when the bottom of the right arm already has been formed, market was not able to reach the neckline. So it stops somewhere at the COP despite strong upward action. here was definitely thrusting action. The market just a few pips wasn't able to reach this level. It means that market stopped already at the tested 30% level, and actually it stands at the resistance trend line, which is, well, it's more signs of weakness for the market. And this overextended of the right arm here is also looks a bit heavy. So it means that bears probably have domination in the current moment on the euro currency. And the stop at the COP instead of the direct action to the neckline and maybe upward breakout, it's also the starts of weakness. So that's why, although theoretically we still have this butterfly and theoretically it has chances to work, my personal view is that, well, chances that it will be completed a bit worse than this page. Finally, on the hourly chart, what we have also negative moment. Take a look at the recent performance. If you remember, we said that market has to stay above two major support areas, which is a confluence as well around 113. But market has broken through it as it no exists. And this has happened with the acceleration down. This is not the type of the performance of the bullish pattern when after COP market shows the 618 retracement, breaking the confluence, and all this stuff happens on the way to the neckline. This is not a good sign, guys. And personally, despite that, we could theoretically consider the trading setup with the butterfly, and theoretically we could try to take the long position here with the stops below the C point. In fact, this will not be a really big risk here, just approximately the 50 pips trade. But all this environment makes me be cautious on the possible downward continuation, and it not looks really attractive for taking the long position currently, based on this performance. This is what I think here on the euro currency. Besides, now if we'll take a look at the same scenarios that we discussed recently, take a look at Australian dollar. It's also prepared for a downward action as Brent Bata stands ready to start today. It's already some minor pullback shows here, as well as the Canadian dollar stands in a good performance to the upside as Brent Bata starts to work. So both of them, as a Canadian dollar, as Australian dollar, suggest US dollar strength in the short term. That also indirectly suggests that euro will stand under pressure in the current environment. Finally, those of you who are watching our gold videos, today we also will take a look at this market. You could see that on the daily chart on the gold, we've got the bearish grabber. That also suggests some downside performance and also suggests the strength of the United States dollar. All these moments hint on the possible solid inflation numbers today. So, taking it all together, currently, I'm not calling you to take the short position or just do something here, but in the current environment, I would say that personally, I'm not really fascinating with taking the new long position on euro currency. So if you already have it, you have some break-even stop, so you could just sit on the hands and see what will happen, because surprises also happen sometimes, and indeed, if you will get just very bad CPI numbers, you could get some rally upward continuation, and indeed maybe this pattern will work. But this is the odds question. In the current situation, the odds stands more in favor of downward action, and that makes me to be aside from taking any new long position on euro currency.